Okay, real talk. I had a conversation last week with my buddy. He's a really smart guy, has a solid job, and diligently puts money away every single month. But he recently told me that he's about to take his entire life savings and dump it all into a single rental property. No stocks, no index funds, just real estate. And his reason? He looked at me and said, "Real estate is real, Andrew. Stocks are just numbers on a screen. The housing market never really crashes long term." And you know what? I didn't argue with him because honestly, I have heard this exact logic hundreds of times. But here's what nobody is actually telling you. When you sit down and run the real numbers, dollar for dollar, side by side, the answer might completely flip everything you think you know about building wealth. I'm Andrew, this is Finance Andrew, and today in this explainer, we're doing what most people are too scared to do. We are running the actual math. No opinions, no vibes, just cold, hard numbers. By the end of this explainer, you're going to know exactly which vehicle builds more wealth and, more importantly, which one is the right move for your specific situation. Don't go anywhere because this is going to genuinely change how you think about your financial future.
Here's why this debate is so incredibly dangerous right now. Most Americans pick a side based on what their parents did, what their coworkers are chatting about in the break room, or whatever some flashy influencer is hyping up on Instagram. The real estate camp will fiercely argue, you can touch it, it's tangible, it builds physical equity, and you can pass that tangible asset down to your kids. Meanwhile, the stock market camp will counter with, it's completely passive, it compounds automatically in the background. Look at Warren Buffett, he built his entire fortune in the market. And you know what? Both sides are right about something, but both sides are also hiding something from you. Picking a strategy based on social media noise is a recipe for disaster. The only way to cut through all that noise is to look at real numbers over real time with real comparisons.
So here is exactly what we're going to cover today. Number 1, real estate, after the hidden costs. Number 2, stocks, after inflation. And number 3, which path actually fits your life.
Let's dive right into Section 1, real estate, after hidden costs.
So let's run the math. Let's say you decide to buy a home in a mid-sized American city. The purchase price is $250,000. That's pretty realistic for a lot of markets across the country right now. To avoid massive fees, you put 20% down. That is exactly $50,000 straight out of your pocket on day one. Now let's assume this property generates rental income. We'll estimate $1,800 per month. That translates to $21,600 a year. On the surface, that sounds absolutely incredible. But guys, this is exactly where amateur investors completely fool themselves.
Watch how quickly that top-line number just vanishes. These are the unglamorous realities, the hidden costs that absolutely nobody puts in their thumbnails. Let's aggressively chip away at that gross rental income. First up, property maintenance. You need to budget about 1% of the home's value per year, so that's $2,500. Next, property taxes. The national average sits around $3,000 to $4,000 a year. Homeowners insurance, roughly $1,500. Then there's vacancy. Even the best landlords in the world lose 1 to 2 months of rent between tenants, so wave goodbye to another $1,800 to $3,600. If you hire a property manager, to avoid the headaches, they take 8 to 10%, costing you $1,700. And finally, random repairs, appliances breaking, unexpected leaks. Let's conservatively add another $1,500 to the mix.
So the crucial point is this. Your actual net rental income, it's not 21 grand. It's more like $8,000 to $10,000 per year. That leaves you with a net rental yield of roughly 3.5% to 4% on the property's value. Now yes, the property appreciates in value too. Historically, U.S. residential real estate has appreciated at about 4 to 5% per year nationally. Sure, hot markets like Austin or Miami have seen much higher spikes, but those aren't guaranteed moving forward. So your total real return? It's about 7 to 9% per year. But remember, that is only if you are in the right market, only if you have great tenants, and only if nothing major breaks.
And this brilliantly illustrates the biggest misconception of all. I have to say this as clearly as possible. Real estate is not passive income. It is essentially a part-time job that pays you. That panicked 3 a.m. phone call from your tenant about a flooded basement? Yeah, that is part of your return. You are trading your time and your peace of mind for that equity. We really need to contrast this heavily with the hands-off nature of our next asset class.
Which brings us to Section 2, stocks, after inflation. Let's take that exact same $50,000 we used for the house down payment and instead put it into a boring, simple S&P 500 index fund. What does history actually tell us about this approach? Well, the S&P 500 has an average historical return of approximately 10 to 11% per year over the last 30 years. Now, to be perfectly fair, we have to account for inflation. After inflation, your real returns sit around 7 to 8% per year. But look at the reality here. Zero tenants, zero maintenance, zero 3 a.m. calls. Absolutely no insurance headaches whatsoever. You invest the money, the market compounds automatically, and you get to just go live your life. Let's put them head-to-head in a 20-year showdown. If you put that $50,000 into an S&P 500 index fund, compounding at 10% a year for 20 years, it becomes approximately $336,000. That is nearly 7 times your money, and it is completely 100% passive. Now let's look at the real estate side. Use that $50,000 to control the $250,000 asset. Assuming it appreciates at 4.5% per year, plus your net rental income, after 20 years, the property itself is worth around $600,000. Sounds amazing, right? But wait, after paying off the remainder of the mortgage, the property taxes, the selling expenses, and all those hidden costs over 2 decades, your actual net gain lands around $280,000 to $310,000. So on pure math, with zero effort factored in, the passive stock market actually pulls ahead after 20 years. But wait, before all the real estate advocates close this explainer, there is a massive plot twist we absolutely need to discuss.
And that brings us to Section 3, the secret power of leverage.
So what is this secret? It's one word: leverage. When you take out a mortgage, the bank is literally handing you money to invest. Think about how wild that is. You put in $50,000 of your own money, but you're controlling a massive $250,000 asset. You are literally earning returns on the bank's money.
Let's look at the actual math of this leverage. If that $250,000 property appreciates by just a modest 4% this year, that is $10,000 in pure gains. But remember, you only put in $50,000 of cash. That $10,000 gain represents a massive 20% return on your actual cash invested in a single year. And that's just from appreciation, even before we count any rental income. Try walking into a bank and asking for a $200,000 loan to invest in the S&P 500. They will laugh you right out of the building. You simply cannot safely replicate that kind of exponential wealth amplification in the stock market.
But I have to warn you, leverage is a severe double-edged sword. The risks are fundamentally different here. If the stock market crashes, you might feel sick to your stomach, but you can literally just choose not to open your investment app for a few months. You just wait it out. But with real estate, if your tenants suddenly stop paying rent, or the local job market dips, or interest rates climb, you are still writing that heavy mortgage check every single month, no matter what. A rental property's bills never, ever pause.
So that leads us to Section 4. Which path fits your life? Let's walk through this ultimate cheat sheet. This is the honest, side-by-side comparison of how these two vehicles actually stack up. Average annual return, real estate nets roughly 7 to 9%, while the S&P 500 is historically 10 to 11%. Effort required, real estate is high. Stocks, basically none. Leverage, real estate gives you a massive mortgage advantage, while stocks offer very limited, highly risky margin. Liquidity, meaning how fast can you get your cash out. Real estate is very low, it takes months to sell a house. Stocks are very high, you can sell in seconds. Starting capital, real estate requires $30,000 to $50,000 just to get in the door. Stocks, you can start with literally $1. Tax benefits, both have them. Real estate offers incredible depreciation and mortgage interest deductions, while stocks give you the power of 401ks and Roth IRAs. And finally, is it truly passive? Real estate is a firm no. Stocks are a firm yes. Neither of these is the automatic winner. The winner is the one that actually fits your life right now.
Let's lay out the exact profile of who should lean into property. Choose real estate if you have a highly stable income and can handle those monthly mortgage payments without losing sleep. Choose it if you specifically want to use bank leverage to grow wealth faster than the stock market typically allows. Choose it if you genuinely do not mind the realities of landlording, managing the property, dealing with contractors, and handling tenant relationships. And finally, choose real estate if you are the type of person who needs a forced savings mechanism, because paying that monthly mortgage forces you to build equity, whether you feel motivated to save that month or not.
On the flip side, here is the exact profile of an investor who is far better suited for the stock market. Choose stocks if you simply don't have $40,000 or $50,000 sitting around for a down payment right now. Choose it if you want true set-it-and-forget-it passive wealth building. Choose stocks if you highly value flexibility. Maybe you plan to move to a new city, change careers, or you just know you might need liquid cash quickly. And most importantly, choose the stock market if you absolutely hate the idea of dealing with other people's midnight problems.
So, what do the genuinely wealthy actually do? Let me synthesize this entire explainer into an actionable playbook for you. Wealthy Americans don't pick a side and argue about it on internet forums. They do this. Step 1, they use stocks and index funds in their 20s and early 30s to heavily build liquid, compounding wealth when they have no time or capital for a house. Step 2, they use that accumulated liquid wealth as down payment leverage to get into real estate at the exact right time in the exact right market. And step 3, they run both together. Stocks first, real estate second, both acting as twin engines of wealth. The people winning the financial game in this country are not choosing between these two tools, they are using both at the precise right moments in their journey.
So there you have it. The real math on real estate versus stocks. No hype, no bias, just the numbers laid bare. Now I want to leave you with a final thought to reflect on. Look at your own strategy right now. Are you letting social media dictate your financial future? Are you heavily concentrated in just one area because it's what you know? Are you team real estate, team stocks, or have you structured your life to master both? Your financial future isn't going to build itself, but taking a hard, honest look at these numbers is the first step. Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you next time.